Come on in, welcome to my home. You forgot something when you were decorating. I know, some of you are saying,
No, I didn't. I didn't forget anything.
I'm going to tell you, you really did. What did you forget? Well, the majority of your time, the 168 hours that you have in a week, 40 of those hours, if you work full time, are spent out of the house. 56 of those hours, if you sleep 8 hours a day, are spent asleep. The rest of that time is spent in your house. I mean, yeah, give or take. Okay, so yeah, just go with that. Okay, so then knowing that, did you know that most of your time in your house is spent in dim light or even absolute darkness? So a lot of times when we decorate our house, we make it look all pretty and wonderful for daylight hours. And that's really easy to do because normally when you're doing your decorating, you are doing this in the day when everything is really bright and full sunshine, just like it is right now. But this isn't how you necessarily see your house. So I'm going to give you some tips on how you can decorate your house so that it looks better and feels better for you at night. Because right now, oh yeah, I'm looking straight ahead and I can see a wonderful view. You can even see that the light is coming in on me because there's lots and lots of light from everywhere. But what happens at night? Well, here's what happens. So this is what 6:30 looks like at my house. Kind of different, isn't it? I've lost a lot of that sunshine that came in here, and there's a lot of things to think about. Like right now, this is a ridiculous amount of light going on in my house because I'm doing this to make up for, the fact that this is nighttime. It's dark outside. It's 100% dark outside. And the camera is also making it look a lot brighter than what it is. But there are some things you have got to think about. Like, okay, so do you want everything to be this bright? I have rooms where my overhead lighting is super bright because I use it to record with. I always have to warn people that they're like, if you turn on a light in this room, it will blind you. You probably don't want that. You probably want something that's more conducive to actual living. That's more conducive to what you are going to be doing. Are you going to be sitting there reading? Are you going to be watching TV? You need something for that. And for me, this is it for recording, which I'm now looking at the viewfinder going, wow, that's not anywhere near as dark as I thought it would be. I thought it would be super dark. But there's some things that you want to really think about. Windows are a big part of that. Because yes, it's really easy to say, well then at night, you just close your blinds and voila, you don't have that to deal with. Well, and that's true. Now I have white mini blinds, I think they're actually cream. So when I close them, it becomes this cream section of basically wall almost. And is that really cool? Not really. It's not really all that cool because suddenly it becomes this huge blank spot where nothing is. And that's sort of weird, but then again, I could pull my curtains and then, or drapes, whatever you want to call them, I could pull those and then that becomes a big, huge block of color there. Is that cool? It can be. It can be not cool. Depends what you are, what you like. Maybe you have a great view and you really don't want to lose that view. Here's one of the problems. If you have enough light in your place so that you can see, you probably can't see the view outside. It doesn't work that well. Because what happens is, and I'll show you, I'm sure I'm flipping around and everything. What happens is a lot of the lights will reflect in the glass. So that's why when you see all these places that are all lit up in movies and TV shows that are all lit up at night and they can see perfectly outside, question that. Because I can tell you from experience that that's not exactly how it is. You get reflections, you get that sort of thing. So yeah, that is something to think about. The other thing to think about is what do you want to draw people's attention to? I have that hutch back there. Where do I want people to have, I want light from on that? Sort of, maybe, kind of. I don't know. No, not really, because while I like it and I like the things in it, I don't want to put lights in there simply because I would never use it. In fact, what you're going to find as I go into this some more, the lights that I have and the lights that I've set up, because I have a evening look and I also have, well, what I call my dog light, because when the dog comes over and we're watching TV and I'm usually reading a book or doing something, she wants to have enough light so that she can see. So the dog light has enough light so that she can see and everything is good. And I like it. I really like that sort of look. The other thing that I have set up is the uh, computer time stuff. Whereas most everything goes to a really dim kind of look, as you can see, but yet it gives me enough light that I can function, I can move around, I can do things. And then there's also the complete total I'm in bed kind of thing where there are the only lights are the lights that are in the bathroom, which are actually grow lights for the little plants that are in there, but I can use them as night lights and they're wonderful. It gives me a nightlight which serves a purpose versus a nightlight that's just a nightlight so that I don't trip and fall and all those sort of things, or have to turn on bright lights, and I don't want to do that. These are lights that I can have on so that I can then enjoy myself. But you're saying, well, okay, so we get it. They're lights, but what are the things we have to think of? Well, like I said, reflections. Even though it's really cool to have all those, what are they called? Light catchers or sun catchers in the windows, they're really cool during the day, but at night, they don't capture the light. They don't reflect light. As you can you see that in the shot? Yeah. The glass reflects light. Silver things will reflect light. The mirror reflects light, so that gets some light bouncing around, and you get more of I think it's a more gentle, calm, soothing kind of look. The other thing is to think about what places do you not want to show off, because those you can then turn into dark voids. Although most people want to avoid a dark void because you don't want to feel like, oh, there's something that could come out of there. But it's one of those things to really, really think about. What do you want to focus attention to? And then what do you want to not have attention on? One of the things which I found is originally on my TV stand, there was a really nice light. Yeah, it was pretty nice light that was up there. It would turn blue for when I was watching TV. And I found I hated it because the blue light when I'm watching TV just did nothing. I like the light that I have. So these lights are what's on. Well, actually, just that one. What's on when I'm watching TV, because it's beside me. I can read. I can still see the TV. The room isn't dark because I do not like to watch TV in a completely dark room. That's just me. Then also I can then enjoy the space. There's just something cozy about the light. Now let's also talk about, and I've talked about this before, so I'll just touch on this. Light temperature. This light is set for warm white. The other lights, you've seen daylight. Most of my overhead lights are daylight because those are what you have when you want to have that daylight look. Why don't I use those at night? Because at nighttime, the blue light in the daylight says to your brain, hey, let's wake up. It's daylight. So no, I try to go with warm colors at night so that way I can enjoy this. But the big thing is to think about where you want to have accents. And if you don't have a light there, I am not a big fan of lighting candles because I have a tendency to, like, when I'll go off into another room, I don't want to leave a candle lit for another room, so I have lights which will imitate like a candle, say like that one. I have lights which will do that, or that one up there, and I get that feeling of a candle without having to actually worry about a candle burning. I get that cozy feeling because at night I really want my house to calm down, to be cozy, to be warm and inviting without taking anything away. And without that bright light that you get in the daytime, it's hard to do. It's really, really hard to get that wonderful coziness without, like, even I'm looking at the viewfinder again, Even this shot, you can see that this side of my face is really dark. It's not even, but it's a nice sort of warm, cozier look during the nighttime hours. And it's one of those things that people always, always, always forget. They want to do things like, oh, I'll do dark and moody so that way at nighttime it can look really, really dark. Like super dark to the point where it's almost foreboding dark. Or people who want to do the whole, I'll do a light, everything will be white. So that way at nighttime it just looks weird. It gives you that weird sort of vibe. I found I want to do a cross between that. So my decorations, I think about this. When I place something, say like said pillow. Yes, this pillow is pretty dark, but you notice that there are some light colors in there. So that way in the darker, feather coming out of the pillow. That way in the darker part of the evening, the lightness will come through. The couch, which you can see right here, this is showing up way brighter than what it is. So think about that when you place something. I like to place dark and light so that way they play with each other, they interact with each other. The cabinet right here, which is really interesting. The black part of the cabinet and that's all the same color. It's just the way the light reflects off of it. And that is something you have to experiment with. It can be the most fun you have ever had just playing around with choosing the different lights, choosing the different scenes. I have lights. I'm using Wiz lights. Are these all Wiz lights? Yeah, I think these are all Wiz lights. So that way I can change the color temperature, I can change the color of the lights. But you might decide that you don't want that. You might decide that you just want regular light bulbs, in which case, cool. But I have one button on my phone that I can change the whole scene around. In fact, to show you what I'm talking about, the scene that we have right now is the living room studio up. Then this is if the dog is coming over. If the dog is coming over, it looks like this. That goes to daylight, and the other lights sort of drop out. When it comes time for computer time, then everything changes. Come on, computer time. There we go. Then everything changes, and it goes to this. Wow, this camera does a really good job at that. It gives more of a moody kind of look to this. I'm actually really impressed that the camera did that. Then we can go back to the studio. There we go. And that's all done with light. The complete and total change of my house happens just with light. And that is something that I think people absolutely ignore. The fact that they're just like, I don't have to do any of that stuff. All I have to worry about is decorating for the daytime. Reflections don't matter. Light and dark doesn't matter. It does. It all matters. Because if you want a house that stays inviting, warm, wonderful, night, day, evening, that sort of thing, you have to do these sort of things. But yeah, this is my house. This is how it looks at night, how it looks in the evening, and recording this with this time is really, really wild. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you do, or do you do anything different in your house? Do you look at your pictures and things and say, well, at night, this picture is going to just disappear. I either need to put a light on it, or I need to do something that will reflect light to it, or do you just say, doesn't matter. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about this. At this time, I'd like to thank these wonderful people who've heard me go on and on about the different levels of light and everything in my house. They are my patrons and my channel members. They get to get these videos early. They get to get a behind-the-scenes vlog, which showed they got to see how I was recording these other shots that you've seen in this before. They get to hear about the interesting things. And like I said, this is filmed on February 10th. So right now, we still get dark by 6:30. It is now 6:38. By 6:30, we are dark. So yeah, you're going to spend a lot of your time in the dark. It's something to think about when you decorate your house. Well, let me know what you thought about that, and I hope we get to see you again the next time you stop by.